What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the podcast. It's Drinks After Work with Shelly Nicole. How's everybody doing? I hope everybody had a great weekend. I had a good weekend despite it just being cold and rainy all weekend, but it was still good. I went to the Jets game yesterday. They lost, but it was fun because it was my first time going. I told my dad that me and him have to go to a Jets game at least once, or just a football game, period. And we finally made it happen, or he made it happen. Shout out to my dad. He made it happen. And he got tickets for me, my brother, my cousin, and him. So he got 4 tickets. It was good. We were late. Yes, it's my fault. We were late. Don't crucify me. But it was still good. We still had a good time. We enjoyed it, even with the rain. We got ponchos. First of all, ponchos being $5. Insane. We thought it was supposed to stop raining because it said it was supposed to stop around 2-ish. So I was like, all right, we're going to drive there. Probably just deal with the rain for about an hour. But it just kept coming. And it didn't stop. Obviously, it stopped once the game was over, right? So I blame the loss of the Jets on the rain because it was just coming down pouring. Damn near pouring. But it was still a good time, though. So today's episode is I did a part 1, I guess you want to say a part 1, last season when I said, when's the right time to walk away? And that kind of got a lot of feedback and a lot of people put their input in it. But I felt like, it was only fit to bring that topic back, but I'm renaming it, You Need to Walk Away. And kind of more being direct instead of saying, well, when's the best time to leave a situation? And the only reason why I'm bringing this up is because obviously, and again, I don't really get into rich people's business, but because it's just all over the internet and because she was so savage in her response. Cardi B and Offset, my Bronx sister, shout out to the PX, Cardi and Offset, finally going their separate ways after I don't know how many years of them trying to figure it out and seeing what could happen in their relationship. They have decided to part ways. And if you're on TikTok or you've seen Instagram, you've seen her video and how much of a savage she was. So I see it like this, right? Everyone has this glass. If you've ever been to medieval times, you know the type of glass that they give you or cup that they give you. And the shit is huge. It's very brolic. But think of it just being like a very tall, maybe 7-inch glass, right? That everyone has. A personal glass that we all have that I call it the fuck around and find out glass. The all right, you've reached your fucking limit with me glass. And everyone has one, regardless of its relationships or friendships or family, whatever. Everyone has that glass that has to be full or filled. And sometimes when you get all this black shit in the glass, it's from people who have done negative things to you, who have caused you so much heartbreak, so much headache, so much confusion. It's just real black, dirty, nasty, and it just fills up the glass, right? Because then you also have people who fill your glass with clear, crystal, beautiful, almost holy water, if you will, in your other glass. But we all have this one glass where it's when it comes to someone just trying to make a fool out of you and trying to make a mockery out of you, I feel like every single one of us, men and women, have it. And I feel like Cardi she hit it. It ranneth over. He filled that shit to the top and he was just she was just okay, you know what? I'm done. I'm tired of trying with you. I'm tired of crying. I'm tired of having a conversation with you. I'm tired of asking you to stop. And you keep doing it. And her glass was it was starting to run over, and it was almost about to tip the glass over because where it was standing on, started to flood over probably too. That's kind of how I see it. And we all have been at that point in our life when it comes to a relationship. I'm talking about relationships right now, not friendships or anything like that, but just relationships, period. And knowing that, okay, now it's the time for you to walk away because clearly this person disrespects you. Clearly this person doesn't care whether or not you're angry, you're upset, you're crying, you're asking them to stop. Clearly they're very selfish and they don't think about no one else but themselves. And sometimes, and this is a debate that I think I've heard actually a lot of men even have with me about, this word build, wanting to build. And I'm like, elaborate on the building thing. And when I asked that for them to elaborate, some of them said, I don't want to say superficial things, but have a home and get married and have generational wealth and this and that and a third. And I'm like, okay, that sounds good. But in this whole building thing that we're supposed to be doing, are you asking us as women to just turn our head to the cheating, to the lying, to the nonsense that you keep putting out, the nonsense that you keep doing that I'm asking you to stop doing, and I'm supposed to just turn a blind eye to it and just say, okay, well, at least he's doing this and at least he's taking care of the kids and he does take care of the house, so I should just turn my eye to it and just say, fuck it, let him just cheat and let him do what he wants to do. And I've even heard some women say that they're okay, not okay, but they've come to the understanding that for them, they think men are just always going to cheat. So why not just accept it for what it is now and just move on and just cry? And you guys remember that stupid saying, I'd rather cry in a Bentley, I think it was, cry in a Benz instead of crying in a Honda. Some bullshit. I don't even think Future probably came up with that dumb shit, but I don't even know. I just know that was a saying at one point. And honestly, I don't want to cry in a Bentley, a Maserati, a BMW, a Mercedes, or a Honda, or a Kia. I don't want to cry ever over anybody's dusty head ass son. I don't want to do it. And I don't think it's fair that we push this narrative on men and on boys, because we're teaching them from a young age, obviously, that it's okay to have your cake and eat it too. I don't understand, and obviously this comes from centuries ago, biblical times, of men being greedy and wanting to have more than one woman, wanting to have more than one spouse, or whatever the case is. Me and another friend of mine were actually talking about this polygamy thing, and I think she had said something about how, well, in the Bible, I think she referenced the Bible, that it was something about how all of these men had multiple women. And I said, yeah, and what happened to their kingdom? A lot of it fell, right? Not to say that was probably the only reason why it fell, but all of these men who had multiple women, their kingdom fell at some point, whether it was with them or it was with their son or it was with their son's son, or it somewhere down the line it fell because of the greed of having multiple women. God didn't create Adam, Eve, Chantel, Chanel, and Mary. He created Adam and Eve. It also says that a man will leave his home and go to his wife, and two shall become one. Where did we add in the 3, 4, and the 5? I don't get that. That just comes from blatant human greed of us humans wanting more than what we are told to have, and then want to look shocked and clutch the pearls, hold the purse, because it didn't work out the way that we thought it was going to work out, but it wasn't supposed to work out that way. I want to know, and I really want to know, someone who has or is in a polygamous relationship and it's working out just fine and they've been doing it for more than 5 years. And if it works for you, it works for you. But my whole thing is this whole thing of just circling back to greed and men I'm not saying women aren't, but right now, gentlemen, we're on you. Men being greedy and wanting multiple women for their own need and for their own insecurity. Because honestly, I feel like it's an insecurity. If you need more than one of if you need more than one of something, and I'm not necessarily materialistic. Well, actually no. You could say materialistic too. It has to come from something else. And it can't just be cuz I just want it. Well, why? Why do you want it? And I even ask myself that too. Like, granted, you have options, like when it comes to shoes and when it comes to bags and it comes to different jeans and this and that. But when it comes to a spouse, is it like, are you saying that you need to have multiple options and you can't have one vagina for the rest of your life? Like, I really don't understand it. I really don't. But the whole thing of pushing this narrative for young boys and men to think that because they're a man, they don't have to settle down and they don't have to be with one person, and it's okay for them to have multiple partners. And I'm not saying this is everybody. I'm not saying this is everyone's situation. I know there are probably a few men out here who forever or for the longest or since they started dating that they're okay with just being with one person. Like, I actually went to school with a guy who I believe him and his wife are still married to this day, and they have 2 kids. And I went to school with him like back in kindergarten, preschool. Like, I knew him for the longest. And obviously after elementary school, we went to 2 different schools and just followed him on Instagram, and we follow each other on Instagram and stuff, and his wife as well. Me and his wife went to the same high school. So they've been together, and probably on and off, but they've been together since I could remember. Like, even before high school, they have been together. And again, I don't know the backstory. They could have had their moments of being apart before they decided to get back together and, do their single thing. But from what I know, they've been together since middle school. And for some people, it just works out that way. Like, that's your person. You find your person at a young age. 2 old souls come together and they're perfectly fine with staying together. But again, you have people I don't know if they went this entire time with being together. They could have taken a break or whatever the case is. But nonetheless, I do feel like there are men out here who are okay with just being with one woman and not wanting multiple women. And on top of that, I feel like at some point, and this is not to judge, I'm not judging, but I do feel like at some point, when do you then say to yourself, okay, you know what? I'm done with the chasing different ass or having different women around me. I'm over it. I'm done. I'm tired of the dating multiple women. I'm tired of sleeping with multiple. Like, at what point do you tell yourself, okay, I'm done? Like, when do you think, what's the appropriate age for a man to just be like, okay, enough is enough? Like, yes, we're aware that men develop and, become more mature a little later on in life, right? But you mean to tell me at your big old age of 50 years old, you still don't want to settle down and you still want to run the streets and have multiple girls and multiple women? Like, are you not tired? Tasmanian devil. Are you not tired of just chasing and having multiple women? Like, you just don't want to settle down. Like, that's just something that you're just not. And I'm not, and when I say settle down, I don't necessarily mean getting married, because I know some people will equate settling down with, putting a ring on it and going in the church. For some people, it works. For some people, it doesn't. Not everybody is striving to get married. Some people are okay with just long-term companionship. And if that works for you, that works for you. But going back to what I was saying, at your big age, like, I personally feel, right? And I feel like this with not just men, but I feel like this with women as well, that after 30, maybe even later than that, I want to say maybe 27, 28, I feel like you should be trying to hang your jersey up. I feel like it's time to retire the whole jersey. I feel like it's time to retire the multiple men, multiple women. It's time to hang it up. It's a wrap. I think, from that young age, I want to say teenage years. I want to say like dating in your teenagers or teenage years, and probably having a few relationships in your 20s, or just dating multiple people in your 20s, early 20s. I feel like when you get closer to 30, it's kind of like, okay, this was fun. This was cool. This was fun. I'm kind of over it. But I feel like even now, like as I'm saying this, like early 20s, because for myself, I've always been an old soul. I've always just been like, I'm down with one person. That's just me. I did have a dating phase. I'm not going to say that I didn't. I had a few dating phases in between my relationships when I was single. But for the most part, I've always been like, I'm a lover girl. I just am. And I love seeing people in love. I love seeing people happy in, healthy relationships. I love seeing all of it. And I even have told my friends, like, despite my singleness, it's okay. And seeing them being happy in their relationships, that it's a beautiful thing to see. But I've always been an old soul where it was just like, if I'm just with you, I'm with you. I'm not messing around with Tom, Dick, and Harry while I have a boyfriend on the side. Like, that's just not my thing. Or, even dating multiple guys, it was just like, oh, this is exhausting. Because it's like, a lot of them just be talking shit and they really don't back anything up. But then you do have some who do back it up, but then they want ass at the end of the night, and it's just like, yeah, no, I'm not giving that to you. So then you don't hear from them ever again. But it's just like, I feel at your late 20s, it's time for you to just start to buckle down on not just your life and what you want to do, and asking God what your purpose is and where you should be going if you're not sure, but just in general, taking relationships and wanting something serious. And again, it doesn't have to end in marriage, because marriage isn't for everybody. Not everybody believes in it, which, to each his own. But I feel like the ending for everybody, personally, my opinion, I feel like the ending should be something long term, or in a marriage, because what's the point? You're doing everything like a husband and wife anyway. So why not solidify it? And I know some people will argue and say, well, exactly, we're doing everything like husband and wife. So why do we need a paper? Why do we need the government in our business? But forget the government. Like, we're not worried about the government. It's a union that you're taking. It's a promise that you're taking under God to say, this is the woman or the man who you've decided for me to be with, and I'm going to be with them through thick and thin, through, rich or poor, sickness and health, the whole thing. So why not? And then, you have other people that say, oh, well, weddings are expensive. The older I get, I kid you not, word to my mother, the older I get, I am perfectly fine with going to the courthouse for a small, intimate ceremony, or just me and my husband. I don't even care. And then I can do a whole reception type thing, or like something like of a party, and invite. And I swear, as I get older, the list is getting smaller. And then have like a reception, like have a party, rent out a restaurant, or whatever the case is, like whatever I want to do, or whatever we decide that we want to do to celebrate our union. But to do the whole flowers and the whole, it's the economy we live in right now. It ain't the time. It ain't the time. It ain't the place. A lot of people ain't got it. Or really, I really did think about going international now too, like having a wedding overseas somewhere, like in the Caribbean or something. I don't know. But nonetheless, still saying like, yes, I want to be with this person for the rest of my life. I want to share your last name. Why not? And just solidifying it under God and under that union. That's mainly it. Not just the government being in your business. Like, the government's already in our business. The government's in don't get me started, please. Nonetheless, the timing of when you should walk away really has to be when you're tired of the disrespect. And I know I went like on a whole tangent about marriage and stuff, but to circle it back before we can even get to the marriage and the union, and as I was saying about society and us saying and telling these boys and these men that it's okay to have multiple women, ties back to the whole thing with Cardi and Offset. And again, this is just, we know surface level. We don't know everything that has happened between them. I know that Cardi has probably went on her live a few times and spoke about it and actually cried about it and how, irritated she is. And we can even not even just use them. We can use Queen and Clarence. Like, shout out to them, because I like Queen, I like Clarence too. But using their situation, and again, this is all just surface level off of what we see. So we don't really know the depth of their relationship, right? But just off of them being together for a long time. And Queen makes subtle little hints to say like, hey, I want to get married. Hey, hi. I want to have your last name. What's going on? What are we doing? And Clarence has said, on YouTube, and he has said on his Instagram that it's going to happen, sooner than later. But I personally feel, and this is not just for them, but this is just in any situation, I feel like a man knows that he wants to marry you whether or not after 2 years of being with you. Like, married. I'm talking about like actually married, wanting to put a ring on it. Not just you're the person who I want to be with for the rest of my life and I'm going to cut everybody else off. I feel like that comes sooner than later. I feel like that's like 6 months into the relationship. I feel like men know, because that 3-month grace period, that 3-month honeymoon stage is cute and all. Everybody's putting their, best foot forward and they're showing out. But it's after that 3-month, honeymoon phase that you then see how someone really feels about you. I feel like after 6 months, a man knows like, okay, this is somebody who I really want to be with for the rest of my life. And then as time goes on, I think after 2 years, yeah, it's time. It's time. And again, everyone likes to sit here and say, oh, but the finances. Don't hit me with the finance thing, because all y'all got Afterpay, all y'all got Klarna, all y'all got all of these things that you could buy you can even buy your ring. Ain't nobody got to know. No one has to know you have a payment plan on a ring. No one has to know that. And maybe if you don't want to do a payment plan on your ring, because some people have done it, I'm just saying, if you don't even want to do a payment plan on your ring, put in them hours at the job and stack the money up to get this ring that you want to get her. And have that conversation with her. I'm telling you, going to the courthouse and having something small, or even if you don't want to just do the courthouse, just having a smaller wedding, I feel like a lot of people are turning to that, because it's really like, it's a lot. I think flowers alone cost like $10,000 if you're bringing them like imported. Forget your backyard flowers. I'm talking about like imported from a different country. So like there's really no excuse, I feel like. But when you're ready to, if you're not getting that, and again, everyone has that cup. Everyone has that. It's called a cauldron. That's what it is. Everyone has that cup that after a while it overflows, and it's like, okay, I've dealt with the lies. I've dealt with the cheating. I've dealt with the manipulation. I've dealt with whatever it is that was happening in your relationship. At some point, it's going to tip over, because it's like, what more do you want us to do? What more do you want me to say to you? I've said so much. I've opened up to you so much. I've cried so many times. I've asked you to stop, and you don't see that you're hurting me. You don't see that what you're doing is genuinely bothering me, and you continue to do it. I feel like, one, that's just disrespectful. And it's but so many times, like for myself, that you're just going to disrespect me. Because I get the whole, and this again, that goes back to when I was talking about the whole building thing. I get the whole thing of like, you want to build with your person, and it's not always going to be peaches and cream, and it's not always going to be fun, it's not always going to be rainbows and sunshine. But there's no reason why you're disrespecting me by sleeping with other women. Like, okay, if you've done it the first time, maybe I didn't catch it, maybe I, whatever the case is, you did it, cool, you got away with it. The second time, all right, now you've done it again, now I caught you. Now I'm telling you to stop doing it. I'm asking you, can we fix this? You're telling me you're sorry. It meant nothing to you. Okay. Now you just keep doing it. It's like, okay, you're playing in my face now. And some people will say like, oh, it's just, it's just a man being a man. And that again comes, I hate when we say that, men being men. So you have no self-control. You don't know when to just say, okay, I'm done. I'm over it. I'm tired of doing it. And not just cheating. It's not just a cheating thing. Maybe it's also just coming, how you speak to me. Like I'm very sweet. Anyone who knows me, I'm a very sweet person. I'm not mean. I'm really not. It takes a lot now that I'm older. It takes a lot to get me to that point. And when you get me to that point, I'm not sure I can shut it off, because then I get real disrespectful. And it's like, oh my God, why would you say that? Because I've been respectful to you this entire time. I've been conscious of what I'm saying to you this entire time. So the fact that I know that you're blatantly disrespecting me. Now, when I disrespect you, don't say nothing. And I feel like that is where Cardi is at. She was like, okay, so now you just don't want to listen. You want to do what you want to do. I'm asking you to stop. I'm asking you to put a cap on it. I know you did it. Okay, now can you stop? This isn't what a husband's supposed to do. This isn't what a marriage is supposed to be like. Can you stop? And you just blatantly keep going? Keep going? And on top of it, and I'm not justifying this, right? I'm really not justifying this. When you have and please, you can comment, but this is just my thought process, right? If you have a woman who is bisexual, or is maybe not even just bisexual, but you have a woman who's bi-curious, or just like into women also, and she's okay with like bringing a unicorn in, or I spoke about unicorns on the live last week, and bringing like a third wheel in. If she's okay with it, and she's okay with it happening like here and there, but she does all the communicating with the female, why are you still, and this goes back to greed, why are you still out here sharing your penis with other women when she is obviously okay with bringing someone in here and there? You have the best of both worlds. In my head, you have the best of both worlds. She's not tripping off of it. She's okay with bringing another woman into the house here and there because she's also interested. So what are you like? Why? What, like that's not good enough. You want. I get it. You want to play judge and understand and pick the woman that she chooses. You want to also be a part of the selection process. Well, that's just something that you have to talk about with her. But I don't understand that. And I think, and I'm not saying this was Cardi, but I do think this is something that she mentioned, or if it wasn't Cardi, maybe it was Tiana Taylor, that she was into women too, so they would bring other women into the house. But it's just like, again, the greed thing, being greedy. You have a woman that's okay with it, so why are you stepping outside of the boundary that she already created? Why do you, for what? For what? Go lift a weight, play a video game, do laps around the house. I don't know, but why? Like, I don't get it. Nonetheless, like I was saying, to bring it all back, and again, I'll be on, I don't think I mentioned it, I said again, on Wednesday, I will be on live, and we can talk about this some more. You need to walk away before it gets too bad, before it gets to the point where you hate someone, before it gets to the point where you really despise this person, or you might do something that you might regret. I'm not sure if she regrets having sex with another with another man while she was pregnant with the baby. That was savage. I don't think I could go that low. She went to hell with that one. She went low, like low. She was in the asphalt of hell when she did that, because that was bananas. That was insane. Diabolical. I when I heard that, I was like, yeah, no, that girl, what? But knowing when the right time to walk away for yourself, when your cup ran over and where you're no longer able to deal with the disrespect. It's personal for everyone. Everyone has their own amount of liquid or junky shit that they're going to allow to overflow in their cup or over their cup to say, you know what, it's time to go. But I do feel like the best time to walk away is when the actions are becoming disrespectful. That's when it starts to become like, okay, you know what, you're blatantly being disrespectful to me, and now I need to go, because if I do or say something, it's going to hurt your feelings, and I don't want to do that, and it's probably going to hit you lower than what it should. But I think when you've gotten to that point, ladies especially, we are guilty of doing this. We'd like to stick around and wait. And a lot of the times, I've even heard people say, like, you know, I think my mom has said it, or my aunt has said it to me, a man is only going to treat you the way you allow him to. And a woman is the same thing. And a woman's only going to treat you the way, gentlemen, you allow them to. If you don't put your foot down, or you don't say nothing about it, or even if you do, but you continue to stay, they're going to look at it like, okay, well, it's really not bothering you that much. Like, yeah, you're going to cry, you're going to bitch, you're going to complain, but you're not going anywhere. You're going to stay here. So at some point you have to maybe, you know, take a block off that cup and just like lower it a little bit, so that way it's not so high up to the point where when it starts to spill over, now you've lost your shit, and now you're going insane. So where you can at least have a little bit of peace, and you can be like, you know what, I tried, I stuck around, I stayed for as long as I could, but this isn't serving me, and I respect myself more than I respect this relationship, because clearly he doesn't respect it, or clearly she doesn't respect it. So I need to respect my space, my peace, and my sanity, and I need to walk away, because mentally, you have to mentally be okay with where you're at. Because honestly, guys, getting cheated on is like, I heard somebody say it's like getting hit. Like, it's the same chemicals, the same, like, I don't think it's endorphins, but the same chemicals in your head that are triggered when you're getting cheated on is the same thing that happens when you get hit. And it's a trauma feeling. Like, it takes a while to get over it. I won't say you don't get over it at all, but it takes some time for you to really just process and understand, like, oh shit, this really happened to me. And then coming out of was it me? What did I do? And realizing that a lot of the times it's not you, it's them. And I just hope that Cardi, and I hope that anybody else who has gone through situations like that have just like, they start their healing, letting go and moving on. It's very fresh, but you also can tell, sorta, because, you know, people hide and mask behind stuff. She's in Paris. She's enjoying herself. The looks are looking, the outfits are doing it, and she looks like she was mentally, and that's another thing, but we're going to talk about that on the live. She was mentally gone already. She already walked out of the relationship from a long time ago. So, nonetheless, I'll be on live on Wednesday I'll probably do 6:00. If I'll update, you guys got to follow me on Instagram. This is why I say follow me on Instagram, because things happen. Sometimes I'd be too tired. Sometimes I'm starting to work out again. It's back to working out. It's back to my fitness. This summer I just was like, yeah, no, I'm not doing it. But now I'm back to it. So I'm gonna say 6 o'clock right now, Wednesday. I'm gonna be on live, and we can talk more about this and share y'all thoughts and opinions of when's the right time to walk away, why you should walk away. What does it mean for you that like your cup is full? Like what does it take for your cup to get full? Because again, everybody's different. Some things don't bother people. Like some people cheating doesn't bother them. I mean, bless your heart. But some people, cheating is not the end all be all, because some people have just said, you know what, it just happens. Some people it's lying. Some people it's the manipulating. Some people it's physical, financial abuse, whatever it is. Everyone has a different thing that causes their cup to just be full and like, okay, you know what, I'm done. So right now, Wednesday, we're going to say 6 o'clock that I'll be on my Instagram. You got to follow both. My personal Instagram, Sincerely Shelly. It's an underscore in there somewhere. But I'll pop up with a pink dress. And then my podcast Instagram, Drinks After Work _podcast _. Okay, guys. So I hope you guys have a great night. I hope you guys have a wonderful day tomorrow. Whatever happened today, leave it into today. Don't bring that shit into tomorrow. And I love you guys for listening. Have a good one. Bye.